So Chris Hemsworth just said that if we gonna keep doing Thor, if y'all want Thor to keep coming back, if they want to keep making Thor, we gotta get these movies a new tone. And I completely agree with him. Let's talk about what he said. Okay, so I saw this article. I want to get into it with y'all. Not all of it. The title is Thor's MCU return needs a drastically different tone, says Hemsworth. Let's skip down a little bit now that several months have passed since Thor Love and Thunder's release. Chris Hemsworth is beginning to open up more about his experience on the film and what he wants to see from Thor if he returns to the MCU. The actor recently spoke to Josh Horowitz for the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and the topic of Thor's future inevitably came up. Hemsworth was asked what comes next for the God of Thunder after playing so many iterations of the character. He admitted that Thor's MCU return should have a drastically different tone than what audience have seen recently, and here is his full quote on that. He said, "You look at Thor 1 and 2 and they were quite similar. Ragnarok and Love and Thunder are similar. I think it's about reinventing it. I've had such a unique opportunity with Infinity War and Endgame to do very drastic things with the character. I enjoy that. I like keeping people on their toes. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me invested. I've said this before, but when it becomes too familiar, I think there's a risk in getting lazy then because I know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm even invited back, but if I was, I think it would have to be a drastically different version in tone, everything, just for my own sanity." Thor lost his mind, that last one. He's got to figure it out now. So I want to read a little more. Chris Hemsworth has always brought some comedic presence to Thor, as even the first Thor utilized his fish out of water state to make audiences laugh. This tone was largely maintained through his appearances in the Avengers movies and his solo sequel. While Thor Ragnarok's comedy is mostly beloved by audiences, Thor Love and Thunder's comedic tone arguably went too far, even compared to Marvel movies. And I 100,000 trillion% agree. This not only applied to Chris Hemsworth's Thor Odinson, but all the other characters in the sequel, giving Thor 4 an overly silly tone, especially considering the threat level that Gore the God Butcher should have brought. The more mixed reception to Thor Love and Thunder is seemingly a sign that audiences are not quite as fond of the fully comedic Thor. While Hemsworth was quite open about loving the new direction in the past, it seems even he is not fully on board with this tone remaining for future appearances. If that is the case, then Thor's comedic tone must change if Marvel Studios wants to keep Hemsworth around. That could mean not having Taika return for Thor 5. I would definitely not mind that, no shade. With Hemsworth also recently teasing that he could be ready to retire from the MCU and see Thor die, the direction of a possible tonal shift for the character is quite clear. The first two Thor movies were more dramatic than the ones Taika directed, but they were not nearly as serious as MCU entries like the Captain America films. If Marvel grants Hemsworth his wish to kill Thor, the next installment must strike a tone that can adequately pull off an emotionally satisfying conclusion. Thor Love and Thunder's comedic tone does not totally fit in that regard, which could be another reason why Hemsworth wants the change. So, okay, I don't think that Thor should die, like, right now. There's just so much left, I think, that could be told. There's so much we could potentially do with his character that I'm just like, definitely you need to switch this tone up for real, like 100 trillion%. Like y'all have to switch this tone up. I was so mad leaving the theater. I was so fucking pissed, so y'all gotta switch that shit up. But I don't think he should die yet. So let's talk about Thor Love and Thunder real quick, yet again rehashing some of the things that I said before. But yeah, absolutely fucking mad that Christian Bale was fucking wasted, right? Because Gore the God Butcher is this crazy powerful, got the Necro Sword and everything, crazy powerful villain with really cool motivations that I think we should have been seeing build up throughout maybe the first half of the movie. So maybe intertwine, telling stories between Thor and whatever's going on with him and Gore the God Butcher, maybe include some of his like past and origins in a more substantial way than they did, you know? And then by the middle of the movie, we will have been invested in Gore so much. We will have known his backstory so much. We will have understood his motivations and just know who he is, that by the middle of the movie when they meet up, it's like, okay, like I understand what he is. Just for example, it doesn't make any sense for us to have all them scenes of Thor talking to his fucking hammer, them goddamn screaming ghosts. All of that shit could have been given to Christian Bale. Like we could have had time. We had a Christian Bale on screen for more time than we fucking did. That's one of the other things. And then another example that I have, for example, like when you had them bitches sitting at Omnipotent City, all them gods sitting there, right? I wanted Gore the God Butcher to he's called the God Butcher. Are you serious? I wanted Gore to come in there and just start offing them bitches, offing them gods, okay? Coming in there, killing them gods. And it, like pure pandemonium. Everybody, all our favorite characters looking around like, what the fuck do we do? Thor, and let Thor barely escape. Or something happened and he kills all the gods. Maybe not all the gods, but definitely a large part of them. And maybe the rest that remain are ones that happen to run away or escape because they could not fucking take his ass. If Gore is somebody in the comics who was torturing the god of torture, we should have been shaking and trembling in our goddamn boots every time he was on the screen, and he should have been on the screen more. Another thing with Thor's character in the comics, Thor was captured by Gore and he was tortured for a number of days. I cannot remember the specific amount. I don't know if it was, but it was like, I think it was more than a week that Thor was captured and chained up, okay, and tortured by Gore. I think if we're talking about, I just really wanted us to see something like that because Thor, you know, he does have this comedy side to him. And going into Love and Thunder, I was like, okay, maybe Gore will capture Thor and torture him for X amount of days. And, you know, Thor will start out trying to be comedic, start out trying to brush off the torture. But at, you know, maybe day 4, day 5, we're starting to see a different side of him. Not so much comedy Thor, but desperate Thor, right? Where he's like thinking of his family, he's thinking of his brother, he's thinking of the Avengers, his teammates, he's using those memories, he's using the love that he has for the people in his life or whatever. He's using, you know, his protective instincts, maybe trying to keep Gore away from other people, other gods, whatever, human beings, he's trying to protect them. It would be so cool to see Thor reach that mental rock bottom, so to speak, right? And then watch him rebuild himself, whatever happens, you know, and defeat Gore at the end of it, or something like that. Or have Thor be defeated at the end of the movie, because in the comics we needed like what, 3 Thors to defeat him, one from the past and future or some shit like that. I forget. It's something like that. But it's just, there's so many different avenues that they could have taken with Thor Love and Thunder that I'm in there watching these goats scream. I'm in there watching him, you know, cheat on his hammer, flirt with his fucking hammer or some shit. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is this? I was fucking pissed. And, you know, I think that Ragnarok had the right amount of comedy, if we're talking about that shit. It was great. It was fun. Hela was amazing, but she felt like a real threat. Even though I wanted Hela's power, I always say this, I did not like the fact that Hela's powers manifested like blades. I wanted them to look like Hades from Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans, those older movies. And they're not that old, I guess, but still, like, I wanted something more smoky, more looking like darkness, or, you know, like I wanted something like that. I didn't want blade, but Hela was fun. She was great. It was fun. The comedy was at the right amount, at the right level, and I felt like, okay, going from that tone to then going into Love and Thunder and making it like really gritty, or as gritty as Marvel can get, you know, making it gritty would have been fun, and we would have been invested in the character's growth as we see, like I said, another side of him because he's desperate. He would be desperate. Gore would be, if Gore did what Gore is supposed to do in this movie, he would have had Thor so goddamn desperate that Thor would have had no choice but to face different sides of himself, right? He would have been so fucking hurt and desperate and in need of help, and nobody's coming to help his ass, right? Because Gore's killing gods. So there were so many places that Thor Love and Thunder could have gone, and you know, we can't harp on it now because it's already passed. But if you're talking about the future, if you're talking about the future of Thor, I don't think y'all have to kill him now, especially if we got Secret Wars and shit coming up. I guess it depends on where we fit in the next Thor in the timeline, but I definitely agree that there has to be a tonal change. There has to be, and it's not to say like destroy or get rid of all of the comedy, but like comedy's overtaking the character development. It's overtaking the fight scene. It's overtaking everything, and it wasn't even fucking funny. You know what I mean? It wasn't even fucking funny. So yeah, I agree with Chris. I can understand why he would be like, yo, I hear what y'all say. I'm happy that he's hearing what the fans are saying, and it seems like he really also feels kind of the same way. So I hope that this will mean something for real in the future, because I really want I want it to be the tone where he was just swinging his axe at Thanos or whatever the fuck, when he came, like yes, Thor's funny, and yes, but he's not stupid. He's not, in the comics, he's a little bit unaware of some of the things that humans do, and you know, their social norms and all that shit, and that makes him a little funny, because it's like, bro, it's just like he's getting used to how humans operate, right? So that could be the funny thing about it, but he's not supposed to be dumb as rocks, like, damn, or just like completely careless and reckless. I don't know. So let me know what y'all think though. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll check y'all out later. Peace.